Happy weekend, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. And if you're new here, I'm Kai Gabiam. And every Saturday, 7 p.m. UK time, we have our family discussion where we discuss about issues that are affecting us here in the diaspora. So please share this stream, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the all bell notification so you can be notified each time I go live and upload a new video. And I've just uploaded a video not long ago, encouraging also a very, very powerful message from Says Home Lewis, encouraging us all to support Black businesses. So please check that out as well. Bonsoir tout le monde et bienvenue sur Diaspora Channel et merci encore d'être au rendez-vous ce soir. Et comme vous le savez, chaque samedi, 19 heures heure d'Angleterre, nous avons notre discussion familiale où nous discutons des problèmes qu'on rencontre ici dans la diaspora et ensemble, on essaie de trouver des solutions à ces problèmes. Et si c'est votre première fois sur ma chaîne, je suis Kai Gabiam et surtout, s'il vous plaît, n'oubliez pas de vous abonner et activer votre cloche. Et ce soir, on va continuer sur les rôles et responsabilités d'un homme au sein de sa famille ainsi que la communauté. Donc, je vous invite vivement à y participer et n'oubliez surtout pas de liker ce live et partager. So, I see you, BLK Mel. Thanks so much for joining the live. Esatel Nana, thanks so much for joining us from Ghana. Kindly, guys, share the stream and thumbs up if you can. Share the stream if you can. And, tonight's topic is about the roles and responsibilities of a man, because it's so important that we have this type of discussions. So both, men and women can learn from one another what truly are, our roles for us to be sure that we are doing what we're supposed to doing as adults and help the younger ones as well to learn from us, to prepare them as well to be, better adults or parents in the future. So that's what we're going to discuss about tonight. So I will going to put the link, a little bit later on, and I will encourage everyone, in this case, more like the male to call in, and share with us, because we want to hear from the male, the men. So other men that will also be listening into this or watching this right now and hear it, coming from, their brothers. Yeah, let's put it like that. So, and if you're new here and you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, but you watch the lives and you watch the videos, please don't forget to subscribe to this platform, so you can know exactly what is happening, when is happening, so you don't miss out. So we learn a lot, where I come from personally, Togo, Africa, the importance of the community. Because when you have a child, it does not mean that that child is only, your responsibility. Is the responsibility, of the neighbor, of, the aunties, the uncles, the teachers. So is a community thing. So that's why it's very, very important, for us not to forget those practices. So wherever we find ourselves, we carry on with those same practice, tradition, things that, we are used to, or things that we know, is the right thing. And that's how, our parents raise us up. We're supposed to, put those same thing, into practice wherever we find ourselves. So it doesn't matter if you are in Togo, it doesn't matter if you are in Germany, it doesn't matter if you are in France. We learn those things from our parents, so we supposed to, wherever we find ourselves, supposed to implement those same things, so we don't end up practicing things that are really not working or won't work for us. So that's why it's so important for us, like I mentioned earlier, to have this type of discussion. So I'm going to add Pharaoh. He's here with us now, so I'm going to ask her, and add him and hear from him what he has to say when it comes to the roles and responsibility of a real man. Hi, Pharaoh. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Sorry. I was struggling with, I think you sent me two links. I think I've been clicking on the wrong one. I clicked on one, it wasn't
Oh,
taking. I was
sorry.
struggling for over 10 minutes just to locate the right one.
It's all right.
Well,
So good to have you here. Always a pleasure. So, how are you doing today?
I am good, thank you. Other than the lockdown, at least I'll say I'm fine. I cannot complain. Thanks again for having me. I
You're
understand we always
welcome.
doing our thing. Just diving straight and welcome everyone. I try to, all our listeners across the globe. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I am Pharaoh Chio, originally from Cameroon. I live in Birmingham, England, UK. Bienvenue à tous et à tous. Je suis Pharaoh Chio depuis l'Angleterre. J'habite à Birmingham. Je sors du Cameroun. It's a pleasure always talking and educating our people. Last week's topic was very, very engaging. Today's topic, which I believe is kind of linked and similar, trust I know is going to be engaging as well. If I'm to dive straight into a topic of today,
Hmm.
or topic for tonight, the responsibility of the patriarchal responsibility, the responsibility of the male in the family or in the society or in our community. Okay. Um, when we talk about that,
Hmm.
the men or our kings or the kings, how is their responsibility measured? The responsibility of the man or the male or the dominant person within the family, which we know, or the king or the ruler, the rulership, which we know are the men. Sorry, ladies, is to guide and to protect. And then how do you do that? You do it in a way where there are no discrimination. There are some men there, some men out there. If you're
Hmm.
dating, if you've seen a woman that already had children previously or had a child, and then if she accepts you, unfortunately for you or fortunately for you, you have to take that child as your own. You have to show that child same love as if you're the biological parent of the biological father of that child. You have to show that child care, tenderness, and commitment. You have to commit in that child's life. Some of
Hmm.
us, maybe one time, if we haven't seen a woman that already has a kid, like in the evening, you help them with their assignments. You read for them. You read them bedtime stories. You ensure they put their pajamas, they brush their teeth, and then you make sure they go to bed on time. So it's just your collective responsibility as because at that particular time you're a parent to that child. Because maybe the child must have missed that. So you've just entered that child's life. So it is but utmost important that you dedicate some care, some commitment. Not just you cannot just be interested only in the mom. You have to, it has to be a collective thing. You take the whole package. So you cannot take at least, oh, the good, your good comes, then is contained within a box. So if you check the box, you open it,
Hmm.
and you cannot just discard the box. So you make sure you look after everything that you bargain for.
Hmm.
Okay. Our responsibility, like again, attached to last week's, you have to protect. It's your responsibility to protect your woman. It's your
Hmm.
responsibility to protect and defend the family. It's your responsibility to provide for them. It's your
Hmm.
responsibility to suffer for them. We understand that's why men die young. It's programmed. society accepts a situation where the man goes first, and then the woman has to continue with the lineage, the woman continues with the family. So it's a man's responsibility to do that, and then get it in their head that they have to go first. Well, naturally, biologically, it's been proven women are more resistant than men. In the outbreak of an epidemic, men die more. In the, let's say, some mistakes like explosions, men in every society or community, men will die more because women biologically, or scientifically, they're more resistant than men. So it's that's nature. Nature is kind of mysterious in a context. Like in Africa, a woman can carry a child on her back and trek for like 50 kilometers. A man cannot do that. Then a man can clear acres and hectares of land. A woman cannot do that. Then the woman can farm these acres. Well, some men can do that, but it's just so mysterious how men are so strong, but a man cannot really carry a child and cover that distance like most women in Africa they would do. So we kind of equate that to be like law of nature. There's not really a good or in-depth understanding of it, but scientifically, women are more resistant than men. So the responsibility of us men is to provide, look after the family, defend the family. You have to be at the forefront to take that fire from any direction. And then again, if your girlfriend had kids or children from a previous relationship, you have to accept them, take them, show them love, treat them with care, treat them with tenderness. They are yours. They are part of, because if you are with the mom, so fortunately and unfortunately, I don't know how you want to put it, you'll be with these children for the rest of your life. Because you know what, most of the things we say now, they're debatable. What I say, another speaker might come in and they don't agree. So we have to look at both sides of the coin.
That's
But in
true.
a nutshell, it's very, very simple. Our roles and our responsibility: we provide, we protect, strive, go out there, get a job, do that, and then so you can raise your family. So you protect the girl child. So a girl child might not necessarily be your daughter. A girl child is the woman. So your wife or your partner or your spouse, how you want to call it, that's the girl child. So there are international laws, international treaties always coming and protecting the girl child. So okay, which is fair, which is fair. The way they've carved the society, if there is, let's say, an earthquake, a ship about to sink, women and children first. So all these laws and all the experts that sat and then came out with all these drafts and policies and postulates, they weren't stupid. So the woman is the epic center of the progeny. So if you protect the woman, then you guarantee the continuous existence of the human race.
That's just great what you say right there. If you can, repeat it, that would be great because we can't say this enough. We need, you, the men, definitely we need you. We can't do this all by ourselves, but there is just something when it comes to the power, that I would say God has put in us women, like you say, 9 months carrying a child is just a woman that can actually do that. If you go out there and try to do your own thing by switching whatever you want to switch, that is one thing that so far you are not going to be able to do that. So we need to understand. And in this case, because we are talking about the responsibilities and roles of a man, it's so important for our men out there to understand how important it is for you to protect the baby girl, you to protect the wife, you to protect the sister, because like you said, certain things without us, it won't be able to exist. So, you always remember that, always. And it's interesting, you just you highlighted the fact that, it's in some case, a woman can come in a relationship or marriage with children that is not necessarily, that man, child, or children. So it's also important for that man to understand the responsibilities that come with not only the woman, they choose to be with, but the children as well, or that child, that also a part of the package. Let's just put it like that. So it's so important for the men listening right now to to be prepared, because I don't know what you think about this, but I'm going to throw this at you. I think it's not everyone that's supposed to start bringing a child or children in this world when it comes to man or even a woman, but in this case is a man. We're talking about the men. So if you are not ready, you are not well prepared, do you think, people should be out there having children here and there?
No, no.
Right. So why?
You should be psychologically,
Mm,
financially, mentally, in any way you want to, economically prepared. This
mm,
now,
mm,
okay, a child, bringing a child into the world, that child needs stability, like a stable home. Where's that child going to stay? Where's that child going to live? So you cannot be homeless and then you keep impregnating women. So where are these children going to be? Where would they stay?
mm,
So you cannot be very poor with money and then you
mhm,
try to bring forth children on earth
mhm,
into the world. So it's a hope, I believe, I strongly
mm,
agree that you have to plan it and then table in part of your resources and prepare for the coming of any child into the world. First and foremost, you have to buy all what the mom will need, or what the kids will need, or what the child will need, like everything needed in the hospital. Then you need a
mm,
house. Then you need a job with a stable income so you can
mm,
feed this child, you can clothe this child, you can provide for
mhm,
this child, you can be there for the child. So I strongly believe humans or adults should be
mm,
equipped with a certain degree of responsibility before going in for a child. Because sometimes there are certain things I understand, like in Africa, it's a big thing. It's a
mm,
very big thing amongst us Africans. Like you say, a man my age without a child is often seen as a taboo, is often seen as a sacrilege, is often seen as an insult. And then in some community meetings, they say, no, Pharaoh, you can't even be talking here. I mean, we expect parents to be talking. You shouldn't be talking. So they ridicule you. So there is that die need to have a child in Africa.
mm,
Then, but one thing again in Africa, sometimes we are blessed. There are abundant resources. My dad had vast amounts of land. Then this land, they will provide varieties. There are fruits, there are
mm,
pineapples, there are pears, mangoes, plums. So a very it can accommodate a very big family in Africa. Okay, if we are to flip, if we are to switch and come to the diaspora, let's say Europe and America, do we really have these resources bestowed upon us? No, because even the Caucasians or the Europeans themselves, they struggle. So
mm,
it's I believe humans or mankind should be ready. You plan for your child, prepare for that child. Like about to go for a wedding, you prepare, you buy
mm,
the best suit, you get a nice shirt, you get a nice tie, nice shoes, nice socks, everything. So equally, if you want to be a father or a mom,
mhm,
you prepare like you prepare to attend a party. I know people, somebody might say now I'm getting married July 2021. Some
mm,
people they very now, they'll work hard, order their suits, They'll work hard, order their shirt, maybe buy a new car for that. So equally, if you see a woman and then you think, you select. Well, sometimes it's a bit hard, but some men, you have to select who you think or you deem fit to be the mother of your child or the mother of your children. I know it's a lot of guys, a lot of men maybe will not agree with me on this one, but it's very, very important. You look into your woman, look where the relationship is going to determine how a woman treats you. It's more likely how she's going to treat your child. So a child is a product of you too. So you have to do careful planning. I know some other people, they do checks to see if there are hereditary diseases like hemophilia, like diabetes, and so they bring forth a very healthy child. Okay, that's fair enough. That's fine. So equally on the financial side, on the economic side, and you should be ready. Have a house, then you can where that child will live. I strongly believe you should not just go about having kids if you are irresponsible and cannot look after them. Thank you.
I agree. I agree 1,000% with with all you said when it comes to planning, because these days, and especially in this part of the world, I know where you come from, Pharaoh, for example, and where I come from. Our dads, they are providers, so they don't wait on any government to provide this or do that, or base whatever they're going to do on what is coming, from the government. So they know and they stay in that role as a provider and protector. Even the wife is also, have her own thing going on. The man is the number one provider in like 98% or yeah, let's put it like that, household. So that is in on this side is something that is lacking in some households. So we need to discuss that as well another day. But it's very, very important to plan both sides, male and women, before start bringing a child or children in this world. And I can see BLK Mel TV here, so I'm going to add them now. Hello.
Hey, can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you guys. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm so happy, to see your beautiful, beautiful smiling faces. So how are you guys doing?
Really good, thank you.
We're fine, thank you. We were backstage, but I think we were on the other link.
Oh, all right. Yeah. All right. I think that's what Pharaoh was saying as well. So that's a bit strange, but I have another stream tomorrow, so I think I've mistakenly sent that one instead. Yeah. So yeah, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about BLK Mel TV. I want the viewers to know what you're doing.
Thank you. First of all, let me just say thank you very much for inviting us onto your platform.
Thank you.
And we're very honored to be able to share the same space with you and your guests as well. We do thank you. We're a very small channel. We literally just started getting ourselves onto YouTube right now. So thank you so much for giving us the opportunity. To everybody out there, hi, how you doing?
Hi guys.
I'm Franklin and
I'm Ursula.
Right, and we are a husband and wife team on Black Male TV or BLK Male TV, but we call it Black Male TV. And what Black Male TV is about is literally it's a business collaboration network. So what we're doing is promoting Black businesses to come forward and work together in a community. Our slogan is about love plus support equals growth. Every time. Wow. And we are encouraging our people to change the mindset to work with this equation with each other, because if we can, which kind of works with today's conversation as well, But if we work together using love plus support equals growth, we can achieve the things that we are having these very discussions about, not only in life, also in business, also when moving back home to Africa or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, not just that, but also we are very heavy about One Africa, One Voice. You know, looking at bridging the diasporas. I just want to say hello to my friend because I too am Cameroonian, and I too we are based in the West Midlands, Birmingham.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know.
We're gonna have to link up and do something.
So yeah, so Black Milk TV, we're all about that because we're just about changing the narratives. I'm originally born Cameroon, obviously raised here in the UK from when I was like 5, and Franklin is Nigerian born. So obviously we were still raised within the culture. We still had like, you know, understanding of certain things, but obviously what we also see that there is a false narrative that's put on Africa, which we are very passionate about dispelling. You know, so hence why we're like One Africa, One Voice, because ultimately we are one people, and that's what we want to change people's mindsets to understand. If we can take away some of those divisions, we can work towards that. And a lot of the times we're doing that through like networking,
interpersonal connections with people, one-to-one. We want to go back to the old way of doing business, the way we did business before the colonizers came in, before capitalism was invented. So we want to take group economics, and we want our people to work together as a community to bring that black pound or black dollar or whatever currency that we're using, but spend it within our community. And the number one vision overall is to take all those people and all those businesses and all those skills and all those experiences back to Africa, right? They took the brain drain out, so we want to put the brain drain back in, or we want to change the perspective so that to move people back to Africa, right? But
we also, we also understand that not everybody's of that mindset, and not everybody diaspora or even those on the continent have the mindset to be back home. And we are also at a place where we do think that we need real strategies in place. Like there's so many platforms where we're having these engaging conversations, which are brilliant, but we also need to be really connecting and networking to see how we can really strategize to make these things not just words we're speaking. So we're really passionate about connecting with channels like yourself. We're currently really now fortunate to be like helping to promote other like organizations such, if you don't mind if I could just say very quickly, I think that even joining in now, but like organizations like We Are Free and calls to
hello We Are Free
and calls to Africa.org, because these organizations, they're doing stuff to really bring us all together, and they're actually really doing things to that connection that we speak of. So anybody who's about that, we are like, we want to support, we want to work together. Oh, also Setro's vlog.
Oh, Setro's vlog. Yeah, you know Setro, right, in Nigeria.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's just really where we're at the moment. So thank you.
So originally, just a quick, we were originally on YouTube and started out on YouTube. Not YouTube, excuse me.
Instagram. We're heavily based.
Instagram, and we've already started, you know, for a few months, and we wanted to test out whether love plus support equals growth will work. And we tried it out with Black Milk TV, just purely supporting black businesses. We haven't sold anybody anything. We haven't tried to receive money or anything like that. And in the past, I would say, 4 months, 5 months, we went from 0 followers to almost 1,500 followers on our Instagram platform. Right, it is. And that's just from throwing other people up, promoting their businesses, messaging them, checking how they are.
Genuinely connecting with them,
you know? So we're at the stage now where we want to take it a bit further. And, you know, to add a little thing there, we had to take it onto YouTube because Instagram was stopping us from doing live videos and connecting with people like that. So it was really weird. We never experienced anything like that before, and nobody really knew what to do. So someone said, why don't you go on YouTube? And okay, but we don't have a YouTube following or anything like that. So now we're starting to build the name and build, you know, the presence on the YouTube platform. So opportunities like this, we welcome it, and we thank you so much for giving us, you know, the chance to come on and speak.
I'm so honored, you know, to have you both here as well, because, you know, networking is key. And like I say on this platform every single week, we are so we don't have time to sit back and say, oh, you know, I'll wait till you know, Pharaoh reach out to me before we do something, or you know, Franklin and Mrs. reach out. No. We don't have time for that.
No, we don't.
You know, and if we want to fix things, we really have to reach out to, you know, the next person. If they are free, if they can, you know, be part of our journey, great. But if they can't, great. There'll still be someone out there for us to be part of our journey. So I'm so happy to have you both here. And you know, yeah, someone just put the power couple, get ready, Africa. So that's what we want to say. Yeah, you know, that's what we want to say, brothers and sisters. You know, keep it locked tight, and you know, be that good role model for, you know, the young one as well. That you don't necessarily have to, you know, go elsewhere to find that queen that's supposed to, you know, support you and be there for you and for that child or for your children. So beautiful, you know, couple. And I'm so happy to have you both here. And you know, tonight's discussion is about the roles and responsibilities of a man, but I'll put it a real man. There are grown boys out there. They look like, you know, men, but they just act like boys. So that's why I have to, you know, just put real there. So I'll, you know, direct that to Franklin. What do you think? Yes, are the roles, you know, and responsibility of a real man?
Tough question. Well, okay, let me put my disclaimer out, right, before I get in trouble. Right? I'm speaking from my experience. I'm going to be speaking from my upbringing and obviously my culture, which is African, which is West African, Nigeria, specifically Igbo. And I'm also going to be speaking from a spiritual standpoint, as well as a historical standpoint. Meaning, because I was raised a Roman Catholic and I moved away from the religion of Roman Catholicism because for me it was a whole bunch of nonsense. For me, no offense to anybody out there, just letting everybody know. So you know, I then embarked on a journey of studying history and, you know, the Bible itself outside of religion. So these are where my perspectives come from. So I just want to put that out there to let everybody know, you know, of just that, and also from personal experiences. So I grew up with a very strong moral upbringing about what the role of a man is supposed to be, you know. And I would say I grew up in the time, I'm almost 40 right now, right? So I grew up in the time when you know, there was this new wave of mothers not having children, not having fathers around. It was literally just, you know, kicking off the big thing that it was, right? And I grew up with a two-parent household. My parents are married. They're still married today. 30-something, 5 years out of marriage, you know what I'm saying? And my mom's West Indian, my dad's Nigerian. They met over here in the UK. And they both are Christian, or Roman Catholic to be more specific. And they both grew up they both put a strong family role model center in my life. So for me, I grew up understanding that the man is the head of the household. And when I understand it from a cultural perspective, as well as a spiritual perspective, it's very different from what the West says it is, and the Western viewpoint of the man being the head of the household. So let me go here. From my perspective, from my culture and upbringing, as well as spiritual, the perspective of the man being the head of the household comes from him being the lineage, him having the seed, him having the line, him having to look after the heritage. And Pharaoh touched on something earlier, which I slightly disagree with him on. For me, the man continues the prodigy. The seed comes from the man. The woman brings, by extension, the woman brings forth the seed. But the seed must come from the man. You take an apple seed and you put it in China, it's still an apple seed. It's still get an apple tree. Don't matter where you put it in, you're still gonna get that fruit, the seed from where it came from. So that's where I look at that there. And the reason being because the woman takes the man's surname. for that specific reason, to deal with the issue of progeny and to deal with the issue of heritage and to deal with the issue of lineage. So for me, culturally, that's where the man being the head of the household begins, so to speak, right? So I say that to say this, that I'll get to the women in a second. I just want to deal with men and children, right? So the first issue is that a man's responsibility as a man is to himself, to make sure that he has a moral and upbringing, a standard of integrity, a standard of honesty, a standard of accountability as a man himself, right? So for the ladies out there, this is the kind of things and attributes you should be looking at within a man. I know we live in a society the money first, but unfortunately, money doesn't make a man. You that's what I'm saying. Money, it's a byproduct of what he's using to give a facade of what he might be, but the core tenets of what is inside a man is supposed to be integrity, honesty, humility, truth, accountability, and above everything else, love, which is what I'm gonna come to again in a second.
Ladies, are you taking notes? Ladies in the chat, make sure you know. sorry, Franklin. I just have to drop that in. I have to drop that in quickly. So yeah, I'll let you carry on. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And don't please do with the interject, because the reason why I say that now, listen, guys, don't think I'm not the best thing since sliced bread. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm a difficult man to live with. My wife can testify to that. I'm not perfect. We all have our flaws, and we all have
yes, right. Carry on.
We all have that. So please don't think that me saying this means I'm like, up here somewhere. No, I'm just a regular guy.
He is pretty good.
You're so honest. I love your honesty.
I just want to put that out there, right? So okay, so that's being the head of the house, right? So now the reason why I say that is because when you look at it from a spiritual perspective, and again, this is from my views that I'm sharing with everybody else, looking at not Roman Catholic, but more of a Bible-centered perspective, me reading the Bible and getting the understanding spiritually from that. The scripture itself says that the man is the head of the household. But what people fail to realize, and this is what I want to use, I want to segue here. What people say is, this is what's the word? Is it misogyny? Whereas men, misogyny, right? That the men are, the men are being over the women, the men are being over the household, the men are, using authoritarian acts, behavior, or spirit over women, right? Now, I don't agree with any of that. Let me just put that out there right now. But what I want people to understand is that's a narrative that's being put out. And a lot of the things we're going to discuss tonight, I want people to understand that there is a narrative being put out for us in our community I'm speaking of. There's a narrative that's being put out to divide the man and woman from each other. And the reason why I say that is, I preface that is because I want to bring it to the spiritual side of things. The man, God made the man and the woman, and he made the man stronger than the woman for a reason. And the reason why he made the man stronger than the woman, I don't believe in this competition thing. Let me just put that out there, right? There is no competition between men and women. God made women to have a particular set of skills, attributes, spirit, and abilities that men don't have, and we ain't trying to compete with that. This likewise, men have a particular standard of skills, sets, and abilities that women should not be competing with. So this whole narrative of, I can do it better, we're equal with it. No, I don't deal with that. Roles and responsibilities. It takes two to nurture and bring up a family spiritually. So the way I understand it is that God made man to be the head of the household, and he made him to be the head of the household because it's a responsibility and an honor to be the head of the household. Because being the head of the household means you're being in the vein or in the image or in the likeness or in the behavior of God. God is a father. God is a counselor. God is a provider. God is a carer. God is a nurturer. God is a builder. God is a supporter. God is a teacher. So all these things I'm mentioning are the roles and responsibilities that a man is supposed to be dealing with if he calls himself the head of the household.
True.
Again, you made the point about them being men and boys. Ladies, pay attention between men and boys. Right? and then choose accordingly. So yeah, right. So the purpose that God created men was to be in that role after him. But likewise, he also made the woman, and he made the woman to be I want to say the softer side of God, so to speak. Please don't do me for heresy. I'm just trying to give an understanding, right? You know, so, and I say it like this, right? I say it like this, right? If a man was to find a gemstone or a diamond or a pearl, how would he treat it? They're very precious. They're very delicate, right? So we're supposed to come to the understanding that the woman was made to be. I'm not saying that women are dainty and they can't be broken, etc., etc. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the man being that hard spirit and that masculine spirit, the counterpart of that is the woman's feminine spirit. So the woman should be magnified and glorified in her feminine spirit. When she takes on a masculine spirit, where's the man gonna go? What spirit is he supposed to take? You see what I'm saying? And that's why we have. That's it. So, and this is why that's where the feminization of men comes into play, right? And right. So, and this is why I firmly believe that there needs to be roles and responsibilities established. So, the role of a man is to be the head of the household. The responsibility of the man is to be the nurturer, be the provider, be the guys. I'm sorry to say, it's a hard pill. I had to learn it and I had to swallow it too. But the love comes from us first. It comes from us first. We have to give the love to the wife or to the woman, and as we give the love to the woman, the children see that love, and the children see that love and see the manifestation of what a relationship is like between a man and a woman. When a child sees, both male and female, when a child sees that, they are then already learning the prerequisites of what it takes to be in a relationship. The foundations are already being laid. The love is essentially the foundation in which the marriage is built upon, or the relationship is built upon, in which the kids come upon. What do we say? We all make love, right? What's the product of that? Children. So while we making love, the foundation is being set, and what is the fruit of that? Children. So a man's responsibility in the eyes of God is meant to be what? You're meant to be after your father, be like your father. So be in the vein of providing, be in the vein of supplying, be in the vein of teaching, be in the vein of nurturing. Let me put it this way. Christ, I'll use Christ as the example. Christ told us to love your brother, right? He told us to love God. He said, love your wife as you love the church. Meaning that Christ gave an unselfish, loyal, and benevolent concern and care for the church. So now if you flip that sentence and put the woman in there, a man's role, first and foremost, in himself, if he chooses to marry, if he chooses to, etc., is you are giving up your technically will, so to speak, in an unselfish, loyal, and benevolent love and concern and care towards your wife, your partner, or whatever the case may be. This is the purpose and role of a man. When we step outside of that, or when society causes issues outside that put pressure on us, as Brother Pharaoh mentioned, to provide for my family, I need a job. I need a job that pays well. I need the ability to progress. But if society has put barriers in place to stop me from doing that, frustration builds in, anger builds in, negative mindsets build in, and then I cannot appropriately deal with my responsibilities as a man or father or whatever the case may be. Do you see what I'm saying? So when we have these conversations, I'm always putting my hair out like, come on guys, can you not, talk about this, and I thank God that I'm able to be on the platform to talk about it.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of crazy. So I would say there's different contexts, obviously, in what a man's role and responsibility is. And I don't want to take up too much time, but I want to say that at the beginning. And if we move on to family, then I'll discuss more about that as well. But for me, first and foremost, in my education, learning, and upbringing, both spiritually, academy-wise, or self-taught historically-wise, a man is supposed to be the foundation of love. Even though we're hard, even though we're masculine, even though we're able to do so many different things, we are the foundation of it because we are the root of that family. So when we marry onto a woman, or a woman comes in onto the marriage, into the relationship, we are now self-sacrificing to accommodate this addition to our being. You see what I'm saying? This is why I say there's no competition, because a woman supplements and complements a man. So if I'm in competition with something that's supposed to supplement and complement me, then I'm essentially, I'm a detriment to my own self. Do you understand? So, and this is what they don't teach us in the society. They keep us at this back and forth between the woman who needs to be the woman, or the feminist movement versus the she's being oppressed, and then the man is, you know, he's just dog, or he just wants to have kids left, right, and center. I'll tell you right now, I've been with my woman for 17 years. We've got 3 beautiful children together, right? But I will say that I did have a child before her. I had a child before her with another woman before I met my wife. But I'm going to tell you guys this. When I was 18 at the time, I was 17 when I got her pregnant. She gave birth when I was around when I was 18. By the time I was 19, I took sole custody of that child, and I was a single parent of that child and raised that child myself for 10 years. And obviously I met my wife along the way, and we started dealing with that. At that time, and this is what I'm going to segue to the society that Brother Pharaoh spoke about. At that time, there was no rights, legal rights for fathers. I'm talking about over 20 years ago. My son's 20 years old now. There was no legal rights for a father at that time. So I had to go to, this is in the UK. So I had to go to court to get legal rights, pay for a lawyer to get legal rights to have my name on the court papers to say that I have legal rights to my son, and also that I can see my son. Obviously, things have changed now a little bit. The laws have changed and they allow certain things to happen. But it was virtually unheard of that men were single parents around that time. But there were a few of us. I remember being in certain groups at that time, trying to come to grips with the reality of being a single parent myself, being a man, and then having people tell me, well, it's not your child. You have to prove that's your child. These things are crazy. So I'm trying to step in and be responsible and say, I want to look after my child. I want to be there for my child. But the society is not designed to allow me to be able to step into that role. It's designed to allow the woman to be in that role without the man. This is very important. So when we take these things into consideration, we have to accept that there's certain paradigms that are happening around us that stop or influence or affect a man's natural role and a natural responsibility, rather than making it such a black and white thing. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't quite work. We have to deal with the gray areas. We have to deal with the bits that are not so pretty and not so nice. And we have to take into consideration all the external factors that go into what makes a man, or makes the role of a man, or changes the roles and responsibility of a man. Let me just say, fellas, I wash dishes, I cook, I put the kids to bed, I read them bedtime stories. So just so you know, like, all those things, it's not about a man's role, or it's about family. It's about teamwork. This is my team. This is my team. And on every team, there are roles where you don't have 2 head coaches on the team. You don't have 2 captains on the team. You have to have 1 captain. But without those other players on the team, it's not a one-man team. And this is what I want people to understand. The team as a family unit is a unit. And when we work together as a unit, rather than trying to compete with each other within that unit, we're able to achieve and hit higher heights. I know my brother wants to come in, so let me not keep going on and on.
Thanks so much. We're going to go back to those gray areas you mentioned, because, you know, we're going to dig deep tonight. So, we have someone very, 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 very special right here. And it's good, Franklin, you just touch on, you know, on certain things that I'm sure, you know, Mr. Baye is going to touch on as well. So the transition is just perfect. And, you know, I'll start with, thanking you first, you know, for honoring this invitation. Pastor, I know you are listening. You are like, you are not here, but you are actually here. The reason why I have to thank you publicly is because today we are talking about roles and responsibilities of a man. And, you know, this fine man, you know, you were saying right now on the screen, he has his own family, young family of 3 young children, a wife, a full-time job, you know, and that's just few. And then on top of that, pastoring a church. But that that doesn't even stop him to sacrifice his time and resources to help other children that, you know, that need help. and mentoring them. So, Pastor, I just want to thank you for being there for us, for the young ones as well, within our community here. So we really, really appreciate you. And thanks so much for joining us tonight. So please introduce yourself to the viewers and tell us a little bit about Team Beae. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you, first of all, for allowing me to be part of what you're doing here. I've been watching your videos for a while, and you're doing a great job. And listening to Brother Franklin's passion, I was like, Kai, my guy's passionate. And so I love that. My name is Farai, as you can see from the name tag. And so just like Brother Franklin, I've got 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. They've been around for the last 7 years or within that. So the oldest is 7, been married 15 years, pastoring. It'll be 8 years in January, actually, Kai. That's it's gone very, very quickly. And I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. And yes, there is quite a lot happening, but I'm grateful for the opportunity that God has given me, because it's been an amazing 8 years.
Awesome. So tonight we just want to hear from you, the men. What are the roles and responsibility of a real man? And I said that already. So we have, boys in, having body of a man out there, doing all sorts of madness. We have to sit down and have this type of conversation so we can learn and do better. So what do you think you can say, are the roles, some of the roles and responsibilities of a real man?
I mean, Franklin pretty much said everything that needs to be said. I don't know how much was said prior to that. But if you're asking me for, my thoughts, the role of a man or the responsibilities of a man, I believe it's just really to be responsible. You can have the position of a father, the position of a husband, even a pastor. Can I just say that? You can have any sort of position in society that people will envy. I wish I had what you have, your status, your business, and blah, blah, blah. But you can have all of that and still be very irresponsible. And so what happens behind closed doors is the most important thing. And so it's just as simple as a father coming home from work. He's got a good job. He's providing for his children. They're well fed, well clothed, but he spends most of his time on his phone or playing computer games, even as a grown man, or hanging out with his friends or doing something else, and not just being with his children. But if you ask him the question, are you a good dad? He'll say yes, because he equates being a good dad with buying his children things and providing a roof. It's so, part of being a responsible man is knowing what you have to be responsible for and what you have to be responsible for. And couldn't say any better than Brother Franklin. The children are the most important thing. They are going to carry the torch when we go. And what we do in the formative stages is going to matter. And I think men also need to realize that our roles do not equate value, right? Someone put in their team does not mean dictatorship, but it's if God has called me to be the head of the home, that does not mean I am more valuable than my wife. Roles are responsibilities, and so one is not more valuable than the other. It's what Brother Franklin said. It just means that they work together to see a mutual end, right? What do we want? We want our children to grow up with the fear of the Lord, to respect their elders, to be good citizens, to be good people. So how do we get that result? By working together, by being responsible, and also expanding that outside of the home to also be there for young men who probably don't have fathers in their lives. We have a responsibility not only to our family, but to the people around us who don't have the same setup we do, so that they get from us what they should have got. Because I've seen it so many times where young men were raised by their mums, and what they understand is, if I need anything, if I want anything, someone else is going to take care of it for me. And that spills over to when they get married or when they enter into society. They're waiting for things, for someone else to bail them out, for someone else to get them up in the morning and teach them how to work and teach them to use their hands, because that's what they're used to. It's not their fault. It's just the way, like Brother Franklin said, society has kind of set things up. And so when you finally put them in a corner and you're jamming them, you know, you need to look for a job. This is how you write a CV. You need to stop being so emotional and blah, blah, blah. They feel a certain way, but all of that is good because you're now beginning to mold them and shape them. So if we can raise our families and at the same time expand what we are learning and what we have learned to others who need it, I think we'll be able to create very, very good pockets of people who grow up knowing what it means to be a man, knowing that their role is not their value but their responsibility. So therefore that woman next to them or the women in society is just as valuable as they are. They just have different responsibilities. A father cannot do what a mother does, right? And a mother cannot do what a father does. Brother Franklin was a single father for 10 years, and what he poured into his son would have been absolutely phenomenal. But there's a certain thing, there's certain things that my wife does that I can't do, and there's certain things that I do that my wife can't do. And so we have different roles, but we're both as equally as valuable as each other. I think that's what I'll say for that.
Thanks so much for that. I think we have the beacon of light at the background. If you're now going to say anything, kindly just mute. Yeah, let me try and add him. Right. It's interesting you mentioned to be able, like, if look outside your household and see if there are, other children that don't have the setting that you have, and reach out to those children. That is, is a very, very important things for us to always remember, because where we come from, where I come from, and I think, some of you on, here with me, they always say it takes a village to raise a child. So we are not going to sit back. The knife crime, gun crimes, sky high. And then we just feel like, I'm good. My boy is good. My daughter is good. So that is not my business. That's not my problem. So, I like the fact that you said that, and I hope someone right here listening or that watch this later will know that this is on us. We can't wait for no government to fix our children, to fix things for us, but we have to come together and, look outside the box and see what needs to be done, and roll our sleeve and fix those things. So we have Odinga here. Thanks so much, Odinga, for joining us tonight. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
We can hear you. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm doing well. How's everyone doing? Good. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Tonight, I really want you to quickly introduce yourself to, everyone here, the viewers, and then I'm going to throw the question at you. So let's do it like that. Yeah.
Okay. My name is Odingas Anyabuke. I'm an author. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I am many things that I'm still trying to figure out myself, because there's so much that we don't know about ourselves. There's so much. Even if you tell yourself you are an IT tech or a plumber or a carpenter, there's so much about the person, the real person, because I always believe we are beyond the name that we were given, because we are all I ams, just having a human experience. So with that said, like I said, I'm an author, I'm a father, I'm a husband. I do various things. I'm interested in this topic because our communities are no longer there. We have lost some of our cultural aspects as people, as African people, or if you want to call us Black people on this planet. There's so much that we need to correct, even if we do it in small quantity. We don't need 2 million people following us. We only need people who can think critically and are willing to do the work for that change to happen. And the reason why I'm saying this because I've looked around and I'm still learning. I don't know everything. I'm still learning. I can learn from even little kids as well. I've seen that in most predominantly Black communities or quote unquote neighborhoods, we are not doing well in our families, in how we educate each other, in how we run our communities or neighborhoods, whatever you want. Even our nations are not ran by us. They're ran by puppets. You know, these outside forces who handpick these so-called leaders, and they tell us how to live our lives, but under dire conditions that man created. You see, so a lot of times we have to really look at the root cause of our problems, because our problems is so deeply rooted that it would take a willing group of people who are ready to do the work for that change to come about.
I agree. So, Odinga, you already said the importance of us going back, you know, let me put it like this, to our culture or tradition as Black people. So, right now, what are you doing, like personally, you know, over there in the States, in your community, you know, to mentor maybe some young boys out there, or what exactly are you doing to bring that change?
Okay, so like I said earlier, we don't have communities anymore. We have neighborhoods. The reason why I'm saying, I mean, it's sad to say it that way, but I'm just speaking facts. Okay, because if we had communities, some of the nuances in our communities will be corrected by those who live within those communities. Okay, so I can only do what I can do in my own home. Okay, and you have to be careful who you speak to or who you try to correct, because we have some people who don't want to be corrected. Even if you're trying to just throw maybe one or two things, they will lash at you. Matter of fact, if their parents hear you talking to their child about any kind of correction, you in trouble. You see what I mean? So we are so divided on many aspects that at some point we have to look at it ourselves individually first and see how we can work together individually. Once you get your household in order, then you can maybe reach out and help someone who is willing and ready to receive the help. Because I found when you're trying to help out people, they bash you. They say, oh, you think you know it all. And, you know, so it's, to be honest, it's hard. So I can only do what I can within my own home. Even if it's a small shack, I can do it where I am. Now, what am I doing in my own home? I am just doing simple things. First of all, I look at myself. What am I doing that is affecting my parenthood as a father? And I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I have many flaws. But I have to tell you, what I'm doing now is trying to listen more to some of the corrections that I need to do and correct some of my own behaviors. I'm listening to my wife more so, because there's some things that my wife sees in me that I probably don't acknowledge or see in myself. And I know I don't want to hear it at that time. But when I go in my little quiet spaces, I can reflect on what she said and say, you know what, Odingas, you need to fix some of these parts of your behaviors so that you can get back on track to what type of family or kingdom or queendom that we're trying to build within our own family. It is very important to tell ourselves the truth. First of all, if you mess up, yes, I messed up. I can do some things constructively to get back on track. My wife and I have been homeschooling our kids for roughly 4 years, my wife came up with this idea. Trust me, I was not ready for it because I knew how hectic things can get. I knew how much of a task it could be. I love my kids, but if I have to go out and work and come back, you know, sometimes you're tired after a day's work. You know, I mean, maybe you can throw in reading a book, but after that, it's like you about to crash so you can get prepared for tomorrow's work. So when my wife came up with this idea, I was like, okay, let's give it a try. I wasn't 100% in it, but I said, let's give this a try. So she started, she said, you know, honey, you have to help. I said, I'll do what I can. And when she started this journey, I have to be honest, I give her all the credit because sometimes I have to be honest, I can't. I'm still learning how to balance work outside of home and work inside of home, and then educating my kids full time. It is not easy. But my wife started this 4 years ago, and then look at where we are right now. It's like as if she saw something was about to come. And now everybody is coming to her. I need your help. I need your help. And I'm like, look, my wife is doing much of the work. I can, you know, throw in a few things because I'm a writer, so I read a lot, and I would help here and there with mathematics, maybe some history, or whatnot. And I have to be honest, it's not easy, guys, but it is worth it because you can teach your kids what they should know, and not what the system want them to know. You see what I mean? Not what the system want them to know. Because at the end of the day, we are their first teachers.
That's right.
Just like mothers are their first nurturers. Okay? And that's why I have a low tolerance for some women, and I know I'm going a little bit off topic a bit, who
it's okay.
who always say they don't like kids. They don't want to have kids. They don't want to. I'm like, but honey, you were born through the same process that you don't want to go through. Why? And they say, you know what? I just don't want it. I said, okay, you know, that's cool. You know, everyone, I mean, to each his own, you know. But all I'm saying is this. I am a work in progress. I am not 100% where I need to be, but I'm not where I used to be. I can say that. I can say that because nobody's perfect. I truly believe in the simple things. I truly believe in the simple things. Life is simple, but the problem is mankind has made it complicated, and that's why we are suffering today.
Thanks so much, Odinga. Before you tuned in, Franklin did say something about it's not a competition when it comes to a man and a woman. So that, you know, I hope people that are listening and even us here on the panel, we are learning from, you know, your contribution, everyone, you know, when you say some, you know, great things that we need to go home with. Because if you didn't listen to your wife at that point, right now, things won't be in place for those, you know, your children. And, you know, even without me, even when you start sharing that, I was just smiling because what you share just is so similar to another person here. And I'm going to let him go over that a little bit, if you don't mind. But, can you share with us the process, you know, when Mrs., you know, Effia brought the idea? Because I was just like, this is just so similar. But I'll let you, you know, explain the process to the viewers.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I think we just got a little bit disillusioned with and worried about some of the stuff. Talking about homeschooling, some of the stuff that that's coming out of the schools. Oh man, it's shocking. It's actually shocking. If you see the books, the lessons, the morals, and all these things that they're teaching our children, we have to realize that they have them for the majority of the day. By the time these kids come home, what we have is them tired, ready to go to bed. We're saying a bit of bedtime story here, do this, do that. And so at school, it's fun, or their friends there, and then that's where they're being conditioned, for lack of a better word, into being good citizens. I don't want my children to be good citizens. I want them to be excellent people. I want them to think for themselves. I want them to own their own businesses, or just know, or the very least know that there's more options. And so yes, I never thought we would ever be able to do it. Effia is a mad woman. She was like, you know what? I want to homeschool. I was like, what? Is that even legal? Is that allowed? Do we know what we're doing? What if our children, don't know their A's and B's by the time they're 13? And
she's a teacher though, Pastor. So if she come up with that idea, not to cut you, off, but she knows something. She witnessed certain things, and she's might be probably like,
That's a very good point. She part of her motivation is just before she left teaching, she felt like teachers' hands were being tied. Okay, so when we speak about public education or government education, we have some really great teachers that are out there that want to do the right thing, but they're not allowed to. She literally like, look, the longer I've been teaching, the more I feel like, okay, we have to funnel the children through this tunnel, and there's nothing we can do about it. We can't pre-warn them. We can't. And so that was a frustration, a part of her frustration. But she teaches teenagers, and we're new parents. My oldest, like I said, is 7 years old. How are we going to do this? And she somehow managed to do it. I personally, and I'm just being honest, I don't have the patience. I tried. I think one time I said, you know what, babes, I'm going to teach the kids. Let me try. And then within a short space of time, I realized there's a special anointing on this woman. And so she did it. And all three of our children are homeschooled, and they are super smart, beyond the level that they're meant to be. So whilst I'm away, doing what I'm doing, she's at home, and she's still, even after, doing this for 7 years, she's still developing and molding the thing. But she's just like our brother said, she's got to a point now where people are starting to come to her and ask her for advice and tips, because we can see it, whether someone's a believer or not, it doesn't matter. We can see that there is an agenda, and can't speak bad about every school, but there's definitely something there that is worth considering, the option of homeschooling. But it is possible, and any parent, I believe, can do it. Because Effie is always saying that you learn as you teach. Because one of the intimidating things is, well, I want to teach my children, but I don't know how to do maths. I'm not very good at geography. Well, as you're teaching, you are learning. So you learn, okay, I get it, and then you teach. And so both grow and both develop. And it's been a great journey. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And one of the things I take away with it more so than anything else is I get to spend more time with my children. I'm home, they're home. They always say that the first 7 to 8 years are the most formative years of a child's character and worldview, right? And so if we give the first 7 years to someone else, they have they're getting their worldview from somewhere else. But the first 7 years you're pouring into, and like Brother Franklin says, society is set up in such a way, parent goes there, the other parent goes there, and the government says, give us your children, we'll raise them for you.
I don't know if it's raise or destroy, but that's a topic for another day. Odinga, what can you say about the experience, like when you started, with your wife, homeschooling your children?
Oh my God. It was, like I said earlier, she started it. She only told me, you have to help with something. And I said, you know what? I'll try. I will try. And I mean, even to this day, I have to be honest, she is putting in more hours than I am. Period. Because I can teach. I have taught before. and I've taught in public and private schools, and I've coached soccer. But when it comes to your child, it's kind of a different structured mindset you want to bring to your own child. And when your child is not getting it, it can be frustrated. Because in your mind, you should know this. You should know this. 1 + 1 is 2. It's not 3. And I have to be honest. My wife has, even to her, it can get frustrating sometimes. But she just keeps coming back. It's like, no matter what, she would just say, you know what, 5 + 3 is what? Out of the blue. So just to get them, ready to think. Because that's one of, a lot of, researchers or scholars have said Black people collectively are not thinkers, or we are slowly becoming people who just don't critically think, because everything has been, the system is set up in such a way that you go to school for however long you go. They prepare you. School is just preparing you. Well, the system of schooling is preparing you for corporate servitude. Period. That's how I see it. Because every institution you go into to work is a plantation. It's just a modernized version of it. Because if I can't control my own destiny, then I feel like someone else is doing it. Matter of fact, you don't even have to feel it. You can see it for yourself. So with schools are the same way. Like Brother Frank said, I believe, just said about your wife goes one way, the husband goes the other, and the system has your children, but they're not educating them. They're preparing them for corporate plantation. Because again, we have to remember, at one point in time in history, thousands of years ago, even before slavery even began, Africans, our own ancestors, built civilizations lasting for thousands of years. Thousands. Without Asians' help, without Europeans' help, without humpback whale help, no help from no one. We did this ourselves, collectively. And we may not have been the best of friends in some aspects of our experiences, but we did build something that others have copied from. And we can rebuild it again if we just go to work for ourselves. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, because nothing good comes easy. But if it's necessary, which I know it is, I think we all, as people, as African people, we need to first of all build up our trust in each other. We need to also build. Remember last week I talked about the 12 steps that we need we need those 12 steps in place, because any of those 12 steps, if we fail the rest. You see, because we need to go back to our own cultural aspects, whatever those cultural aspects were, even if we just pick up the simple aspects of it and just practice it, because everything we're talking about right now is in theory. But if we practice the theory step by step without skipping steps, we will get somewhere and pass the knowledge to the next generation of people behind us that we will leave behind. Because I am a firm believer that ideas outlive human beings. It just takes the next generation of people to pick up those ideas and apply them again. That's it.
So, Franklin, I know you said in the comment that you also have the same experience. Can you quickly go over that, please?
Yeah, thank you. With the guys that just spoke, Beacon and brother, how do I say your name, brother? Is it Farai?
Yeah, Farai, perfect. Yeah. Or Fred.
we're not here to butcher
We're not
names.
here to mention names. So it's Odinga and
Yes,
Farai, right?
you got it.
Okay.
And Pharaoh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I call him Pharaoh up there.
He's
So,
good.
you know, he's all right with Pharaoh, right? And thank you, Pharaoh, for being so patient also, right? I know you wanted to speak as well. But on what the two brothers just said, we have the same experience as well, because my wife is originally a teacher, and she was teaching for us under
8 years and under.
8 years old and under. So, you know, and she used to do private tutoring and all the rest of it. So when we had our children, you know, we got to the decision, as the brother said, there's things that they were teaching in school, we saw what was coming. And my wife said, well, we're going to homeschool. I'm like, we're going to homeschool? Because my first child, when I was a single parent, he went to school. So when she's like, we're going to homeschool, I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, we're going to homeschool. But at the same time, because I knew her profession, number one, and number two, what people don't realize, my wife has a love for children, and it's unique in her own way, because she can connect with your child, and I'm telling you, they become the best of friends, and it's like something you've never seen out of it's amazing how she does it, right? But that gift that she has with that professional ability to look after children, I was like, you know what? Okay, I don't know how to do those stuff, so if she says that's what we're gonna do, then I'm gonna back it. And she was like, you know, but I'm like, but I ain't teaching nothing, because I don't want to look like an idiot when I'm trying to teach them this, that, and the other. Like, no, daddy, this. So I mean, like, but as she did it, you know, there were certain times when I did get involved, when I did, you know, try to learn certain things, and I found myself learning certain things as well and enjoying it as well. But to be fair, she took full control of that. You see what I'm saying? And it got to the point where we had our third child, and she came back and said to me, I want to put them in school.
No, it was Amalia.
Oh, no, sorry, yes, sorry. No, you did say it. She said you want to put them in school. I said, why? She goes, my eldest daughter, who's 7, she said she became fascinated with school. She just, I want to go to school. I want to get to the friends. I want to do the
uniform.
So it was a real hard decision for us, after having so many years of her not being in school, to then decide to put her in school. But we said we'll give it a go and see how it is. But we had to make sure the school was right. So we moved to a certain area, made sure that certain things that we were teaching in the school, or that was the national curriculum to be taught, wasn't taught in the same way, or how they were. So there was a lot of things that we had to go into the school to deal with, to find out whether this is something for our child in the first place. You see what I'm saying? Especially what they were teaching. And we told our daughter this: school is good, but it's there to teach you how to read and write. School doesn't teach you about the world. School doesn't teach you about finances. School doesn't teach you about family. These are things that you have to learn outside of school. Do you see what I'm saying? And to piggyback onto what you were saying, it takes a community to raise a child. And to piggyback on what Odinga was saying, this is where I will be the first to put my hand up. And sisters, I'm sorry. You're not going to like what I'm going to say, but I'm going to be the first to put my hand up and say, the authoritarian love that we require from men, that patriarchy that we require from men in order to instill discipline and structure and organization into children, this society in the West has empowered some women with the feminist mindset to remove that. So when the brother was saying, you see children acting untoward and you want to correct them as a man who's in a real man, you have some woman say, don't talk to my child, don't correct my child, you ain't the father of my child. When women need to understand that when such statements, let me just say this: it's my baby. There are no good men around. All men are dogs. Having men on monetary value. It's not your baby. It's my body. These are just a few examples. Or the Mother's Day one, which is mums are mother and father. That one, you already know. That one don't even make no sense to me right there, right? Because I was a single parent for 10 years, and I never once in those 10 years told my son, I'm your mama too. It didn't work. But what I wanted to say is these notions that I just listed out, or these paradigms, I've heard them for over 20 years, being spoken for children, being spoken to men, being spoken at boys. So when these boys now become men, as we said, the righteous, I won't say righteous, but the real men in the society have not been able to exercise the authority of real love. I'm not talking about authoritarian love. I'm talking about love in authority. There's a difference. There's a difference. It's like people say, oh, I'm not authoritarian. I just let my child do anything. No, that's called laissez-faire parenting as opposed to adaptive parenting, which includes both some laissez-faire attitudes and some discipline together, right? But what the society tries to portray is that, oh, well, men only have one way of parenting. No, that's the westernized way of parenting. We are not westernized people. We have taken on westernized ideologies, but these paradigms that are spoken about in the society, we have to take accountability, especially our sisters on this one, that when you perpetuate these silly notions, which are not true or are not true for the vast majority of the society, as you speak, you have 3 brothers on here who are married and who all have children and who are still, what do you say? Oh, and are still in a relationship and are providing for their family. So this paradigm that there's no good men or all men just hit and run, or they just have their babies and go. We need to be more sensible now. What caliber of men are you talking about? What area of men are you dealing with? You know what I'm saying? You can't just put men in one big bucket and say all men are that's like me saying all women are gold digging, etc., etc. I know that not to be the case. So, because I have a living example of that. So, this is what I'm saying. We need to change that, as the brother said, is 12 steps. We need to start with the mentality of changing the perspectives of this narrative must be reduced. We can't expect men to stand up and be in the forefront, take responsibility, be the man, be the authoritarian, put the discipline back into the children. But for 20-something, 30 years, you've been telling the man, you're no good. We don't want you to say nothing. Don't correct my child. I can. When you remove the roles, which is what's happened, remove the roles of the man in the relationship in the society, look at what we have now. We have the women screaming out saying knife crime. Knife crime is a problem, but it's not a pandemic, right? In the UK. There are 1 million black people in the UK who go around fine, not killing themselves. But there is a specific group of young men between a certain age, 16 to 25, that come from disadvantaged background, all specific gray areas that you have to consider, that may commit knife crime because of a self-hatred that they have in themselves, perpetuated from them growing up with ideas like this from home. Then society telling them, oh, all men are hoods, gangsters. So if we want our men to stand up or our boys to stand up and come to the realization that they have these responsibilities and take them on board, then we as a generation before him, men and women, need to implement those visions and those perspectives into the child. We need to speak, thank you, we need to speak a more positive narrative over men, because we know that men, the love comes from the man. If the man is not generated, women are loved naturally, but the man in the family is that glue that must hold it together. Do you know what I'm saying? It starts with him. And that's why the wife is the helpmeet, because she's the one that encapsulates that love. She's the one that magnifies that love. She's the one that glorifies that love. But there must be a core, there must be a root in which is founded upon. And this is why, for me, it's like we must change that narrative and stop saying, it's all men dogs, or all that kind of derogatory things. Because remember, I'm a young man. I've heard this for over 20 years. Wow. What are the boys learning now? This you know what I'm saying? And then some women come onto the platforms and say, well, these men are just having babies left, right, and center. Sister, you were there with him when he was having the baby left, right, and center. Did you not address the issues that we're talking about today? Did you not see whether this man had the responsibilities of a man and the ideologies? And did you get what I'm saying? We have to take accountability of ourselves for the decisions that we make and for the subsequent effects it has on the society of children who now become adults. I always say this to everyone. Children are mini adults. That's what I say. People look at children as to say like they don't have any thoughts, they're like dolls, they just sit. Children are mini adults, they soak up everything. So what we show them and what we portray or put in front of them is so important to shaping their whole worldview and narrative. So again, if we're pushing in front of them the male role model, the responsibilities of a man, that there are men in the household, that there are men like ourselves who providing, there are men like ourselves who are there for the children, there are men like ourselves. I saw a child doing foolishness on the road here on my house, outside my house, throwing stones at people's cars. Now, most people just left it and not said anything. Now, for me, I understand the consequence of that. You're breaking somebody's window, they didn't have to pay for that. Do you see what I'm saying? The society, well, I'm not going to say nothing because the child might lash out, or because the children don't have no respect towards adults anymore, or to the elder generation, because that's been eroded from the community raising a child. But I stood at my window and I said, hey, what are you doing? Stop throwing them stones before I come downstairs. The boys started laughing, but they stopped throwing the stones. I came downstairs. I walked outside. I looked the boy square in his face, and his friend said, oh, bro, look, and they ran down the street because they understood, hang on a second, there's actually a male role model that's going to step out of his house and deal with the situation on the spot. That they didn't throw stones again, and I haven't seen them again in the neighborhood since that happened. But this is what I'm saying. But if I've been in situations where I've had female friends who you don't have the father around, and you know, they've asked certain questions, and I said, listen, leave your child with me for a week. I said, no, leave your little boy with me for a week, and you will get a different child when you come back, because they don't have that. Some women don't put that discipline in place. But you need a real role model to be able to be there, whether it's the dad, the brother, the uncle, your brother, your dad. There needs to be a positive male role model for that child to see, both male and female children, so that they can envision. Vision is when you see the vision, you know where you're going, right? So when you have that inbuilt in the child and it's being perpetuated in the child, I see my dad is married, my mom's being, you know, there's a whole dynamic in place. When they become older, they want that same dynamic, and then they perpetuate that same dynamic going forward in their relationships with everybody else that they encounter. It's definitely something we need to address and look at, you know. But I yield.
Definitely, because the thing is, there are so many negative comments, you know, some of us like throw out there without even realizing there are children around. And, you know, in my life, it's just one man that made me always say, you know, what I'm about to say now. And I will say it, you know, throughout my life, that there are great men out there, because my dad was one of them. So even if like we have a heated, you know, debate on another person channel in the state, I think, you know, what is happening down there is just on another level. Like some of the women, they don't even want to hear anything when it comes to there are good men out there. I'm not saying they, you know, all men are great, no, but I can't open my mouth and say men. You always have to be some men, because my dad was a great dad, and I have great men married into my family, and I have great people that, you know, I know that even some of them, you know, are right here with us, and friends, you know, that have great husbands. So, you know, no matter what is happening, we always have to remember that it's not all females or all women out there that are bad. Same applies to the men. Maybe we want more to step up. That is another story. But we can't just say all in both sides. So, you know, thanks for highlighting that. So I'm going to quickly let Pastor Farai to add few things, and then we let him go.
Thank you for that, and I appreciate the time. Because I have to go, I've just asked for another quick, because I've been triggered. You guys have said some stuff. I'm like, no, let me speak. And so this is a great platform. I think we definitely need more of these, where men get together and talk about men's issues. Share this video out, get it known there. Look, there are some good men out there who actually are responsible for their children, who do have thoughts about how to progress their children and how to progress themselves. And so I wanted to quickly mention, because we spoke about the homeschooling thing, I was wondering, as I was thinking about it, there may be parents listening now who are at home, whose children go to school, who just think, wow, I've never heard anything like that. But the idea of even taking my children out and starting this homeschooling thing. And by the way, they're going to start attacking that soon. So just bear that in mind. Do it now before they could potentially shut that thing off. But anyway, what do you do then with your children if they're always in school every day? Does it mean that for you that the issue is lost? I don't think so. I just think that it just means you need to invest more when they are at home. Children come at home, and this is across the board, whatever race, this is what we get on more so than anything else. The TV, phones, computers, tablets. Children take their dinners, go in the rooms and play computer games. The parents, back to back, they eat their food while they're watching their Instagram stream. There's no sitting at the table anymore, discussing ideas, talking about the day. There is no, it's a rare thing for you to see families all together in one group going out and doing something together. It's usually the kids with their friends, So invest in your children. As soon as they get home, spend time with them. Put away the phones. Switch off the PC. Switch off the TV. Read books together. Discuss things. Go out to the country. Walk on a hill. Look at the sun's horizon. You know what I'm talking about. Look at nice things and just make that bond. And so whatever they're learning, they'll share with you, and they will trust you enough when you begin to correct those things. Well, I hear what they're saying, but this is what I want to teach you. This is what you should be aware of. You don't have to be part of the system. Even when you finish school, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this. I remember, and I'm not going to go on for long, but I remember having about maybe 10, 15 teenagers at a youth meeting. And I said to them, all black kids, and I said to them, all of you, within the next 15 years and can own a house. You can all own a home. And they all looked at me like I just said that they're going to visit the moon one day. Like, it was so out of I can't even dream about that. I'm not saying that owning a home is the epitome of life, but it's just showing you, trying to show them that they don't have to associate their future with where they're coming from. They can make something out of themselves, whether or not they get the right education or not. They can do something with their lives. And so I think homeschooling, for me personally, is very, very good. But even if you aren't able to, for whatever reason, you can still invest in your kids in a way that will bless them. I've already subscribed to Black Male TV, by the way. I just saw it. I saw the tag there. Boom, subscribed. And I wouldn't mind the tags for everyone else. I haven't even heard Pharaoh speak. Maybe the beard, I don't know, but I haven't heard him speak. But I'm definitely going to rewind the thing.
He started the thing.
Just want to I'm just jealous. I want to make a plug for Team Bayai. My wife is doing a whole heap of stuff on there for homeschooling, tips and advice that even if you're not homeschooling, you can check it out. So we've got Instagram and YouTube. Do check us out. And Kai, thank you so much for what you're doing. This is fantastic. God bless you guys.
Can you say the name? You didn't say the name.
I didn't catch the name.
At Team Bayai. Bayai. So I'll put it in the description. The chat. But thank you so much, Kai.
And I'll put it as well in the description box later for people that watch the stream later. Very, very important. I don't even know how this whole thing play out. That the three wives, are homeschooling the children. So I'm going to have your lovely wives here back so they can teach some of us about homeschooling. So, everything just work out perfectly, because next week is going to be roles and responsibilities of the ladies.
Wow, very good. Thank you so much, Kai. Thank you, everyone else. God bless you guys.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. Pharaoh, you want to add something quick? We have Daniel. Yes. Yeah, go ahead, Pharaoh.
Okay. All right. My brother Franklin, you said something quite remarkable. I have to commend you on that. The society now, naturally, is almost impossible for the system to take a child and then place that child with the dad or with the father, because unless the child is under threat or under danger, imminent danger, a child naturally has been proven, even there's scientific and there is empirical evidence, a child naturally goes with the mother. For a child to be taken from the woman and placed with a man, with a man, there are exceptional cases. So I'll give you credit for that. Me and you share a similar experience. I've got 2 girls, and then there was a custody battle, and then they placed my girls with me. So I will tell your queen sitting next to you now, you underestimate that king at your own peril. Because I understand it's a rare, there's nothing to show off about it, but it's very, very rare. I mean, there's 5% of that in every westernized, as they call it, westernized in quote, in every westernized society. So children are naturally placed with their mothers, unless otherwise a child is placed with the father. And then when it happens, it plays. So okay, so the man plays the dad and the mom. A very rare thing to do, and you did it for 10 years. So my first daughter is 13 almost, and then my second is 11. So I was in that same boat. I went through that, and I did it on my own. So it's just one of the, so that's why I keep recommending our hosts, because when they create this, because after this I will try out, because you all live in the Midlands, so we're here, so we first and foremost we have to connect and then try to build. And then my other brother, the Beacon of Light, I've just ordered your, is it 54 shades? So I'm still waiting on Amazon to deliver my parcel. Maybe I should get it. I was expecting it today.
Awesome.
So hopefully Monday I'll get my copy.
Okay.
But I've ordered a copy.
Tomorrow,
right. Sorry. I'll have
Beacon of Light. Odinga, he will be here, like he mentioned already. He's an author and poet, so he's going to share, so much. He have already published 2 books out here in 2020. So please tune in, and later, Odinga and Franklin, they will have their own talk. I'm going to put the link of BLK Male TV right now in the chat. I put Bayai's channel in the chat. So kindly, guys, subscribe to those channel and learn. That's the only way we're going to do better. So thank you so much for, getting that book. And please share with other people. He's amazing. He is amazing.
So, can you tell us the full name of the book?
I'll put it in the chat.
And please join us tomorrow. Please, everyone, join us tomorrow. Let's do this. We can support our brother because he is great. I'll let him do the talking tomorrow and show us the book and tell us where you guys can get it. But great read. So, you guys need to check that out. And same Team Bayai Instagram is right there in the chat. So, we do this type of stream not only to learn, but also to connect one another. So please check out Team Bayai, Beacon of Light. I'll put his link as well after BLK. So guys, you know what to do. Let me give the chance to Daniel to introduce himself and share. Hi, Daniel.
I just had to come in. I was just watching the whole show. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to Black Male TV. I'm here because of them.
Thank you.
They invited us, and I thought, okay, I must listen in. And this is an incredible discussion. I just had to join in.
Oh wow! Thank you.
I had to join in.
Thanks so much for calling in.
Yeah, we're doing something about this, and I'll explain a little bit later. But I just want to chime in as a father first and foremost. I'm a father of 2. And I completely agree with all of the things that you've been saying, and that's why I'm taking notes. But I came to the UK as a 15-year-old minor, a refugee boy from Eastern Africa, and I had to go through a lot. But luckily, and I agree, if you bring up a child the right way, the 7 years make a difference. My father was a strong African father. He instilled the right principles. So when I came here, I ended up in one of the roughest places in London. I'm sure Franklin and Ursula would know. It's called Halsden, and I went to a school called Wilson High, ghetto. The club.
Wow, you were in Halsden. Okay.
But then I didn't deviate in any way. I know drugs were being sold. I know all kinds of things were being sold, stabbings going on. It's not the. I saw it many years ago, 30 years ago. I'm 46 now, but I saw all of this then. But what I noticed was a lot of the young boys, I would say, didn't have direction. That's what it was. And as a father, what I know, and a businessman, I've been a businessman for almost 20 years. What I know, I compare life to business. And what I say, in business, you have a director and a manager. The director is the father. The manager is the mother. You need both roles. You can't separate the two. One is not better than the other. If you don't have a good manager, you've lost. If you don't have a good director, you've lost. The key thing here is the director has a role to play, and he gives direction, strategy. He's focused on strategy. But the mother or the person that manages knows everything that goes on from the kitchen, because we had a restaurant, from the kitchen all the way through to the front of house, and understands what's going on, the dynamics, what's important, what the customers are saying, and so on and so forth. So they bring it together and lead the ship in a particular direction that the father has set. So my home, for example, my wife is, I can do what I'm doing right now because my wife supports me in every way. So I'm not better than her, she's not better than me. We're a team. It's cooperation, it's not competition. There's no competition here. So and my children are my investment. That's how I look at it. If you invest right, you'll bear fruit. Why are you surprised if you don't invest in them? Why are you surprised if they don't bear fruit?
Exactly.
It just doesn't make sense. So it's as simple as that. And I agree with the beacon of light. He is a beacon of light. Some of the things he was saying, I was just thinking, wow, I was the one typing away. Beacon of light for sure. So yes, as men, we get it wrong. And when our wives sit us down, we should listen. We must listen. But I'll tell you this, it's not just the wives, it's also the kids. And I have a set of rules. I always say, order is the first rule of heaven. Order is the first rule of heaven. And if you set rules in your home, it applies to everyone in the home. And I'll give you an example. So one day I say to my children, you eat here. You do this here. So one day I was doing some work. I was in the bedroom typing away and drinking, and my wife brought the food in my desk. And my son came along and said, he's only 4. He said, Dad, you're not supposed to eat there. The rule applies to me too. So
they'll remind you.
Yeah, but the thing is, you cannot say to the child, no, I do what I want. Because that's the kind of, sometimes we break the rule and expect, for him not to break the rule. Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. I will do exactly what the rule says. It applies to you too. So those are the kind of things I think we should instill in our children. The rule applies to everyone. So that's all. I wanted to share my experience, my views on this. But we're also doing other things, and Franklin and Ursula know about this, and they mentioned it earlier. I listened to this, so thank you. But we can talk some more if you want on what we're doing as a team, as a business as well. But
definitely.
I'll focus on the things you're doing right now. And brilliant talk, by the way.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Daniel. We appreciate you calling in and sharing, those things with us, because sometimes as parents, when you are saying, you shouldn't do this, and your son or your child reminded you, it happens as well here, and they'll be like, yeah, but they say, no, mom, that's what you said. I was like, all right. So yeah, we are learning, and that's the only way we will do things, the right way and better for them also to learn from us. So thanks so much for calling in, and tomorrow, please, everyone, please, 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 the number one aim of this platform is to promote Black-owned businesses and invest in life. Those two things, that's what I'm all about, and the great, great, great guests we have here as well. So let's support our brother tomorrow, the beacon of life. You're going to know so much about everything he's doing. And then he has his own YouTube channel. So please, guys, tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. UK time. We can do this. We can talk all the time about the problems and not support one another, not networking, keeping things for ourselves. This one is just my special contact, I can't, no, we can't do that. We can't. So please, tomorrow, tune in, and everything we've learned so far tonight, let's all of us do better. So I'm going to let I'll start from a Beacon of Light, BLK, and then Pharaoh. Pharaoh, can you round up in French for us tonight, please? If no, then we'll do it. So Beacon of Light, go ahead.
Okay, so it's always a good conversation every time I come on this platform. This is my second time here, so we not only do we need this platform, we need to apply everything we're saying into our lives, because like the wise ones have always said, talk is cheap until we see the work. Okay, so with that, there is so much work we have to do, guys. There's so much, and a lot of times people talk about things in theory, and that's all good. I am for theory all day, but until we can put those things into practice in our homes and branch out, just like a tree doesn't just grow vertically; it also branches out. We can take that same energy that we've built a solid foundation, and we can branch out and form communities of our own. Because like I said, when I first came on, we can't wait for everyone. We cannot wait for everyone. We have to do what we can wherever we are. It starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with, like Michael Jackson said, it starts with the man in the mirror. Look at the man in the mirror. Change the man in the mirror. And you have changed the world by one person. Because at the end of the day, we know what the problems are. Everyone knows what the problems are. It takes a willful spirit within us to say, enough is enough. I have to do something about it. And it does not have to be my way, or Brother Franklin's way, or Brother Pharaoh's way. It does not have to be one way, because if you're looking for a way, you create the way. Because when I had my kids, nobody gave me a manual. Okay? I did everything based upon instincts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Even my own father, I didn't even ask him for much help. I said, look, I have to do this on my own. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't ask for help. I'm just saying, in essence, is when you have a responsibility, and kids are a responsibility. Having a spouse is a responsibility. Having a business is a responsibility. Taking care of yourself is a responsibility. You don't need anyone else to tell you how to take care of yourself. Like I always tell my daughters, because I have 3 daughters, I always tell them, I say, look, you cannot depend on other people to take care of you. Your dad and your mom, we're doing everything to prepare you for this world. But you cannot rely on outside influence or the doctors who are not willing to help or cure anything. Because we, at one point in time, were healers ourselves. And we use what? Nature to heal ourselves. Until we became friends with the Western world. So now they're telling us how we should eat, how we should sleep, how we should raise our kids, what drugs or prescription pills we should take. If you can't focus, there's a pill for it. If you can't think, there's a pill for it. If you can't educate your kids, there's a pill for it. If you don't know how to be a man, there's a pill for it. You know, everything has a pill. So we have to go back to the drawing board and revamp this whole system, because we cannot patch it. We have to eradicate it and replace it with something that works for African people. That's right. All I have to say.
Thanks so much. Amazing. Franklin and Mrs. Yeah, both of you, yeah?
Ladies first.
Honestly, beacon of light, that was lovely to the ears. That was lovely to the ears, and also true. And for me, I know it's a men's conversation, but I just literally wanted to say that things like this, it gives me joy. Do you see what I'm saying? Because the interpersonal connections that we're making with each other, the fact that we've all come from different places, but then throughout this conversation, I've seen connections between everybody, even starting with Brother Pharaoh. We're both Cameroonians. We're both based in the Midlands. We're here. We're fathers. You have 2 daughters. We have 2 daughters. Daniel, you have 2 daughters. You've got 2 daughters. There's so many connections, that we have. And I feel like we spend so much time talking about, like I said, the problems, and we're not fighting to see how we really are connected with each other. And I think that's one of our biggest problems. And yes, mindset is part of it, but sometimes I think if we try to pick even the small, find the common ground between each other, then we have something to work with. Do you see what I'm saying? We now all have a reason to support each other more. We now have a reason to have a vested interest in each other's channels more, because obviously we now are invested in each other. I don't think we should be meeting each other and severing connections. Like like you said, not everybody's in this. I'll be very clear, we're not in this for everybody. Yeah, because it's that mindset we have to be all as a collective, but we don't all agree as a collective. We don't all have the same strategies as a collective.
True.
So with certain situations, we cannot all move as a collective. What you do need to have is certain people of a mindset in unison that can go forward. Do you see what I'm saying? And because we're lacking that, like Black Male TV, we like to break things down to equations. And this is not because, people lack mental aptitude, but just because in the system we live in, we just need to streamline things very simple and basic. So we say equations, we have Black Male TV equations like the love plus support equals growth every time, because it works. I'm yet to see it applied in any situation where if you have the right amount of love, if we come together in love and we genuinely support each other, brother, we're going to be buying your book. That's support. We are Freak. We're invested in everything they're doing. That's support. Brother Pharaoh, now knowing you, brother, we're connected. And when this lockdown finishes, we expect to see you in our home because you're in Birmingham. This is how we are. So one of our equations we like to say is ideas minus strategy equals no solution. And this is very real, guys, because we can have all the ideas all day long. If we're not trying to apply some strategies to this, like when there'll be more of these tomorrow, we can come and meet, then we'll have no solution. We will always be left with the problems. And I am tired of the problems. I love entertaining all these conversations because we have to have them. And with We Are Freak, they do amazing things where they're getting involved, where we're getting involved in conversations. We're coming together and we're bringing these conversations and talking things, because through the conversations, we build the trust. Yeah, through the conversations, we start to work out strategies. We start to see those who are serious, because the serious ones, put your strategy forward. If there's something I'm not thinking of and you were having this and you've thought of that, brother, where is your strategy to this? Because if I haven't thought it and you provided the strategy, just know I'm on board that plan. I'm on board with it, because ultimately I'm on board with us being connected. And I'm seeing, and we're trying to wheedle through the people which are for this, are for the change. We're about legacy. We're about legacy. And I'm thinking we're in a situation now in the UK where they're telling us our children's children will be in debt. So now, to me as a parent, the responsibility now has dramatically changed. It's no longer just about trying to maintain ourselves now. It's no longer trying to make sure my children are okay. I've now got to think about their children's children. So we've got to now provide legacy and generational wealth to cater for my my children's children. Because if I even try to do that, the society has told them that their children's children, they're done for. But I don't believe in that. So that's just where I want to leave, where Black Male TV is at and what we're pushing. And just thank you so much once again for bringing us to this platform and connecting us with who we've connected with today.
Amazing, amazing. That's just the way forward.
Do we have time for me to add a little bit more? Yeah. Do we have more time?
Yes. Oh, yes.
I kind of hijacked the male forum.
I don't want the live to cut off, right? I've still got some words to go from other people, but no, everything both of you said, you know, Beacon and my wife said it's a tough act to follow, because I agree 100% with what they said. You know, if I was to say what my parting words would be in this conversation, first and foremost, let me say thank you again for allowing us to have the conversation and for allowing us to be on your platform. And it kind of ties in with my last comment, because we as Black people, African, whatever they get so called, right? We need to make our own story. We need to have our own narrative, and we need to have our own media and platforms, safe spaces where we can have these conversations without certain influences that allow us that come in. And a conversation like this or a platform like this definitely inspires that, and we should definitely be doing more of it. So we definitely do support that. And for our people out there, and as my wife already said, not everyone in our skin is our kid. And we understand that at Black Male TV. So we move with the spirit that we recognize the spirit with our spirit. If you're of the same mindset, of the same understanding, of the same, we're good. You see what I'm saying? Regardless of what is going on the outside. But if what's going on in here is detrimental to the upbringing, the legacy, the heritage, the love, the support, and the community that we're trying to build amongst our people first, we can work together. And this applies to both men and women. And this should apply to all of us going forward. Brother said something earlier, right? He said that we should, and I agree with it, we need to be the examples that we want to see in the change in our society. We need to bring that excellence and raise the bar. I'm tired of seeing my brothers having arguments. So you know what? I say hello to everybody on the street. If you Black, I say hello to you. I give you the nod. But if you don't nod me back, I know that you're missing something up here. Because you should already know that there's a connect between me and you. Being on this land of our oppressor, being able to be alive and walking in the street, we should be able to recognize each other as brothers and say, yo, I recognize your struggle. You recognize my struggle. And that's just a little passing thing, you see what I'm saying, to the greater thing that we're talking about with community and coming together and all those things. But it starts with us taking that first step in being the example that we want to see, in being that excellence and raising that bar. I've said to people around me, if you're not being accountable, if you're not walking with integrity, I don't want to hear it. I wear my heart on my sleeves. I'm a very open guy. You know exactly where you stand with me. I don't play those games. When you play those games, then I'm coming for you, because you're an enemy to my people and you're an enemy to love. And I'm at war with anybody who's not in the spirit of love and who's not coming with the spirit of love. So I'm putting that out there straight up. Black Male TV is at war with anybody who's not coming in the spirit of love plus support. Like the brother said, it's not always one way. There's different ways in love, right? But love has to be a component of it. Support has to be a component of it for us to see the fruits that are going to manifest. The same thing Brother Daniel said about his children and training up in the way they're supposed to go. You won't see the fruits until later on. But our people want to see quick.
They want to see now.
Now.
Plant the seed and expect the harvest straight away.
Straight away. It doesn't work that way. You see what I'm saying? We have to put that work in, and we have to put those strategies in place. So little things like this conversations and building it up forward and then connecting to form groups or cells of people that are able to do this, like we have done with We Are Free, which I hope you go louder to speak on their platform. I was going to promote it, but he's on it now, so I think you can let him do it. Things like that is what we need now to go forward, and then the sky's the limit. Let's push it. Let's go. We don't know where we're gonna go. We don't know how far, but we owe it to ourselves to push ourselves to get to that place for our children and our children's children. The talk is over. There's no one else who's gonna do it for us. We have to love ourselves first. So
absolutely. Thanks so much, Franklin. Pharaoh, anything you like to add quickly for us to round up? Pharaoh, we can't hear you.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I was just saying there's so much energy has been emanating from the debate and from this platform tonight. I'm so very happy I met my sister from Cameroon. And then my brother Franklin. It seems to be a powerhouse. Okay, the Beacon of Lights. I'm getting your book. And then with Daniel, we need to connect some more. I understand we need to connect some more. But naturally, we hear 7 p.m. every Saturday. But in between that 7 days gap, there are always other forums, there are other chats, and there are other platforms. It's so fantastic having so much contribution, intense contribution. I thank again my host. I will definitely do everything humanly possible to connect with my sister and my brother there, Franklin, because we're not far from each other. We can share a meal. Then if possible, we introduce the kids, let them know themselves, so that not only we as parents exchange ideas, so our kids can equally learn and exchange ideas together. You said something, you covered the home tutoring. I remember one day my daughter went to a museum, came back, she was so surprised. One of the lecturers or one of the teachers told her that this pharaoh came from Africa. And then she came home, I was embarrassed. She was way too young at the time. So it was my responsibility now to re-educate and say who you actually saw, there was your ancestor. You come from that line. You come from, that's your lineage. That's your lineage. You're actually part of that. It degenerated and then it's gotten to you now. So you merely was just looking at some of your grandparents. So okay, it was wonderful having everyone. So I will definitely connect with my brother Franklin and his queen from Cameroon. Ok, nous sommes ici chaque samedi à 19h. C'était très, très meilleur la soirée ici. J'ai rencontré ma sœur, la reine camerounaise. Salut. Merci pour vous tous et tous. Il faut partager ça parmi votre plateforme dans les réseaux sociaux. Merci et nous serons ici samedi la semaine prochaine à 19h. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Pharaoh. Voilà, c'est la fin de notre discussion ce soir. Comme on le dit en Afrique, il faut un village pour éduquer un enfant. Donc, où que vous soyez dans la diaspora, les gens qui sont tout autour de vous, que vous avez vraiment confiance en eux, il faut les laisser aussi vous aider et avoir aussi leurs influences sur vos enfants, parce que tout ça là, c'est comme ça qu'on a grandi, c'est ce qu'on a appris d'où on vient. Donc, il y a même pas, c'est pas une question de penser si c'est bon ou c'est pas bon, parce que c'est bon. C'est pour ça que nous, on est ici, pour nous rappeler l'importance d'aller toujours en arrière et faire les choses comme il le faut. Donc, c'est très, très, très important. Si vous êtes un homme, aujourd'hui, on a parlé du rôle, des rôles et responsabilités d'un homme. Donc, même si vous n'êtes plus avec la maman de vos enfants ou bien de votre enfant, ou vous êtes divorcé, c'est très, très important d'être en contact avec cet enfant et la maman, parce que l'enfant a besoin de ça sur le plan psychologique, sur le plan physique. Tout cela, c'est très important. Donc, il faut continuer par promouvoir, il faut continuer toujours à être là pour l'enfant, parce que lui aussi ou bien elle aussi, ils vont apprendre de nous les parents. Donc, c'est très, très important. Merci d'être ici avec nous ce soir. Et comme Féro l'a dit, chaque samedi, 19h, on a notre discussion familiale. Passez une très, très, très bonne soirée. Okay, so thanks everyone for joining. I appreciate you all. This is the way forward. Respect you all. So tomorrow, please, guys, tune in 7 p.m. UK time to support our brother. Thank you. And, you know, enjoy the rest of your day or night. It depends wherever you're watching us from. Take care for now. Bye.